Welcome to this episode of Locked In. In this video, I'm going to be doing my full review of the Panaracer Romero tire. If you're looking for an all-terrain, chunky, ultimate grip tire for your mountain bike or your gravel bike, please stay tuned. So in this video, I'm going to be going over the specs and features of the tire, price, installation, ride quality, and my final thoughts. So let's get started with specs and features. Romero is going to be Panaracer's aggressive all-condition trail tire. They do offer it in a standard high output casing, which I reviewed, as well as a super tough casing that is going to add more puncture resistance and a little bit of weight. The size options that they're going to come in are a 27.5 by 2.4 or 2.6, as well as a 29 by 2.4 and 2.6 respectively. And currently they don't list the tire weight for these tires, but you can see here what my tires weighed in at my 2.6 size. They are tubeless compatible and are going to max out at 47 psi for the 27.5 by 2.6 size that I tested. And this is going to utilize their triple compound rubber, which basically is going to vary the suppleness of the casing to create better traction and ride quality. And as you can see, this is a really aggressive knobby tire meant for ultimate traction. And I was actually surprised how manipulative the actual knobs on the tire were that would basically aid in different cornering or grip conditions because they'd be manipulating over the surface underneath them. Now let's get into price. Price for these are going to range a little bit online. I will be providing a link for Amazon in the description below, but these are going to range about $50 to $65 depending on the casing as well as the size you're going to want to go with. As far as installation goes, these beat it up totally fine. I installed these on my Industry 9 ultralight wheels, which were narrow for this big of a tire at only 24.5 internal width, but I definitely would recommend at least a 30 millimeter internal to really support this tire because it actually undersized it when putting it on those rims. At max PSI, it was about a 2.5, not a 2.6. So keep that in mind depending on your internal rim width of your rims. Now let's get into ride quality. These tires actually rode pretty well. Now on the street or me riding to the trail, because I did test these on my Poseidon Redwood, which I've been converting to a 90s mountain bike. If you haven't seen that series, make sure to turn notifications on so you can see all those when they come out. That bike essentially is a flat bar, fully rigid gravel bike that I've converted into a faux mountain bike. And I put those on there so I do a decent amount of road riding to get to the trails in my area. And on road, they are definitely loud and very audible when you're riding. And you do feel the drag and the overall heft of these because they are a pretty heavy tire. But on trail, these tires grip super well. I have never had them actually slip on me, period, unless I really was squeezing on that rear brake to lock it up to skid for whatever reason. On any climb, even up to about a 20% grade that I've done on these tires, they never slipped on me. I didn't do a ton of out of the saddle at those extreme angles because I wanted the grip, but these were really consistent and very predictable, and I never had it step out on me or break away from me in a non-progressive manner. As far as ride comfort, I rode these all the way down to the 15 PSI front and rear, and for weight-wise, I'm about 180 pounds, and my bike that they were on is about 30 pounds with all my accessories on it, so I was actually surprised at how well they felt. I felt like I could even go lower. I just didn't push that because, again, my rim width is a little bit more narrow. When I go wider, I'd probably dump that down a few more PSI just to see how they feel. So let's get into my final thoughts. Who would I recommend this tire for? This is going to be a really aggressive tire for a gravel bike. I think it's a little bit overkill for my area, to be completely honest. In California and the terrain that I'm comfortable riding, I don't really need a trail tire, but the grip levels were definitely noticeable compared to anything else that I've ridden. Typically in my area, I ride a lot more XC style tires, if anything, and this definitely had a big grip improvement. If I was going to keep riding these tires, I probably would only ride it in the front and then ride a slicker, more faster or XC tire in the rear to speed the bike up and drop a little bit of rotational weight. But if I was going to ride out of the area in more sandy conditions or in areas that are just more demanding, this would be the tire to go to for that ultimate grip. But again, you are going to pay for it in rotational weight and efficiency, especially in some of the terrain that I ride in, because these knobs are so tall and so big, they're not even really digging into anything because it's pretty hard pack around where I live most of the time. I've really enjoyed a lot of the Panaracer products I've tested. I've tried a lot of WTB tires as well. And as far as grip wise, these were definitely more grippy than the Rangers that I tested, which I did say were the grippiest tire I've ridden at the time. This tire is definitely more aggressive than that, but those tires rode a little bit better and are a little bit more consistent. The big gaps in the Panaracer definitely are a little bit more noticeable when transitioning from the center to the side. You definitely kind of feel that when cornering really hard. And that's it. If you have any questions, please make sure to comment in the comments below. I check them every single day, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I make cycling content every single week. You can follow me on Facebook and Instagram, as well as you can support locked in via my Spreadshirt with my locked in or slow but look pro merch, as well as on Patreon, where I do offer one-on-one cycling consultations every single month for my top 2 tier levels. And lastly, thanks for watching another episode of Locked In.
Let's get locked in today. Bike tutorials and quick and